Do we have any thoughts on EG? Moving on to the final remaining team that we haven't.
The obvious thing to say would be they can't keep getting away with it. They are eventually going to have to play League of Legends to win one of these series, Monte. Like, they're going to have to actually be better at team fighting, fucking piloting the champions, taking the objectives. It's going to eventually happen.
Look, man. I loved how they covered their weaknesses. They're like, is Jojo Pian going to die randomly in a side lane? No, he's not. Inspired's playing Nocturne. He's just going to come save him. If
there it is. Exactly. And even in the first series versus TL, where like, oh, is Impact going to expand his pool? No, Jojo will play the lane for him on the Lucian matchup versus GP. Yep. So like they are covering their weaknesses very well.
I love the coaching here. I mean, the joke is too that in game 2 when Inspired ran Spellbook Jarvan, I was like, is this instead of the Nocturne so we can take TP to go save Jojo Pian if he needs to?
I'm waiting for that moment. It's gonna come.
The joke when we were doing this like watch party for it was I was like, what is the fucking spellbook? What's in the fucking spellbook, right? Because he didn't use another summoner until like 25 minutes into the game when he finally like switched to Exhaust for the Camille. And I was like, okay, we finally figured it out. What the spellbook?
Well, that is a factor of like why EG's been able to get to this point, though, is they have a mega inexperienced player as their star player. But look how they've set it up. Like, he hasn't been in position to make mistakes. Like, he's actually even been able to play games and just sit in lane and get free kills all game long. Like, this is the perfect recipe so far. Like, if the difference is if he had to make all the sort of Bwipo decisions I'm talking about later, you'd expect he's going to fuck up a bit. I mean, supposedly even for League itself, he's mega inexperienced based on the stories Peter Dunn said. So yeah, you want to protect the guy like that as much as possible. Make his job as simple as possible.
Exactly, because it's time to win now. And I think during the regular season, they had a few different compositions that allowed Jojo to really do what he wanted to do. And there were a lot of times where he just died. Like, he had good lanes, but then post laning phase, post 8 minutes, he would just have free deaths. And I think he's getting better, and I do think it's better to fail in that way than to fail in a way where you're literally invisible. We are actually making active decisions that you can look back on. So he will get better for sure, and he's already pretty good. But the problem is, once you actually go up against well-refined teams like TL and 100 Thieves, like I think the drafting problems will come back because they'll ban the certain champions to expose them on side lanes, and Evil Geniuses will probably start failing on because it also impacts champion pool. It's actually good now because he can play Ornn, but they'll just literally ban it and won't allow it to be happening. So
all right, he'll just play Gragas. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like I know how EG is going to play these games. Like they want to play for either Jojo Pian on Rise or for on a very like aggressive Victor build with Airy in mid lane like he did in this series. Vulcan had an extremely good series overall. So that was a big, I think, highlight. But what they like to do is they like to play either Jinx or Zeri in the bot lane. They want to be able to scale into the late game. They want to play with a weak side top laner that has engage and tank possibilities. And then they're just going to play around Inspired and kind of Inspired's pathing and is the way he wants to play the game, which is how you expect this team to play. Now, how many... my question is, how many variations of this do they have? You think it's not enough? You think the bans are just going to wreck them?
I don't think it's enough unless, I guess, Impact can still play GP Shen. So, like, if he's willing to play those and there is a draft that actually makes those work, then yes, I think you will not be able to ban out how Impact wants to play the game, and it'll just be purely on play. So if Jojo Pian is just the more consistent player, which for me would be surprising because last series was the best, string of games that he's had all split long, then yeah, Evil Geniuses can win. So I don't think it's a given. I do think that EG will take games, but Team Liquid just should still be the better team.
My problem is the last series, EG didn't seem to me like they thought they could win. That's to me is the biggest red flag, where it's like we have to have all these level 1 set plays and then game 5, it has to be Renekton in Italy. To me, like that's the red flag where it felt like they were clever to get as far as they did, but they felt like they needed a gimmick or they felt like they couldn't play straight up.
That's true.
Against TL.
No way,
they didn't have the confidence.
Just because we're talking about EG, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that insane clown show moment early on in I think it was in game 3, wasn't it? It was the game where Inspired was on Jarvan Monte.
It's game 2.
And he did that drive-by gank on mid lane, and then he used the abilities to get out of the lane, just like use the drag. But then because he did that, his spells were on cooldown, and then the trundle came in and killed like his mid laner or whatever it was, wasn't it? It was so embarrassing because he was just stood there. What? Like, essentially,
So he was on a ward beforehand. He was on a ward beforehand, and he literally just walks through mid lane like past Fudge, and then just like EQs out of the lane, and then Trundle's
just
in the top side. And Trundle just walks in and like pillars JoJo Piano. Watching it. I was just like, what is happening?
Go back and watch this moment. It's so funny, especially because like Inspired was like a world-class jungler. He's not some nobody. Like, it was such a ridiculous, like, it was just one of those moments where you think that there's nothing wrong with like burning this like ability, but like it actually literally just cost you a kill on your team. Like, it was so stupid. Yeah, it was so stupid. Because in general, by the way, there's another factor. If we want to talk about, like, mate, in general, the imports to NA, they're fucking hit and miss this year. Like, I thought Inspired would do mad work on this EG team, but like, it's just kind of like he's just good. He's not like a star player to me, Raz, when he's in the LCS for some reason.
Yeah, he's been good. I think there's been mistakes throughout the majority of the split, and a lot of that is kind of the shit that I feel like he hasn't had before. Like, he's had work with Larson, and so a lot of the times him and Larson works, because a lot of the times Larson would just get prio mid and would respect a lot on the map. He would either respect the opposing mid laner and respect the jungler, so what him and Larson would get accomplished would be consistent. But it's just been so hit or miss with him and JoJo, because JoJo would either take risks and they would die as a result, or they would expect a counter gank. There's still one moment, forget which team it was against during the regular season, it was later on in the season. We're like, oh, they're counter ganking. They're literally expecting the gank because they see it on a ward and they're going to be able to turn it. And then JoJo just insta-dies on it, and they're like, okay, so we just misread it. Like, we just completely misread this 2v2. And that's what made Inspired look worse. I think Inspired has been a good jungler. I think the pool of junglers this split has been really good, and that's been the kind of the story. But him and working with more inexperienced players has been the problem. So it will take time.
I dropped a moment into our Discord chat, Raz, so you can.
If you want to see the hilarity of it all,
it's like, it's actually hilarious because he like Teemo emotes as well, and then as soon as he EQs, like Fudge just Valkyries forward.
If you go to the VOD, it's at like 9:38 or something. Or in terms of actual in-game time, I can't see the in-game time. It's replay, never mind.
Yeah. Nah, this is hilarious. Nah, this is actually
funny though. It's so, how rarely are you ever actually just going to die because like you're going to lose a kill just because you used the fucking abilities there? Like, I know exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, I saved 1/4 second by using my abilities.
Because my favorite part about it as well, dude, is like, not only does he not have the abilities, but he's even stood right there, just having like fucking like Bruce Wayne, just watching his parents like gone down, like, what? No,
no.
What could I have done? Like, there's nothing you can do now. Is there? It's too late, mate. You did the drive-by. It's too late. It's too late.
That's too funny.
You're right, though. The part I forgot, the real icing on the cake is the Teemo emote right before it. That's what makes it even better. Yes, exactly. I agree.
What they don't show you on there is there was a ward, so they knew he was in that bush.
Yes, exactly.
And then he figured it out, and so he was just like, haha, you saw me. But
I love, even if that kill didn't happen, just the fact that he had to burn his flash to the core.
That's so stupid, isn't it? I know. Yeah, exactly.
So it was like, okay, we're just completely on different pages. Nice.
Exactly.
Perfect.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.